Alright, going to do the Demon Hunter's Guide, and doing it on the beta just to show it at 110. Keep in mind though that a lot of the stuff may change before it goes live, but at least we'll be able to see the full talents, and I can kind of go over and have a better idea of the rotation and such, because right now on the live, Demon Hunters are really limited because you don't start with all your talents. You only get 2 tiers of talents and such, so it kind of throws stuff off. But here we go. Basically, stat priority also is up in the air right now because they really haven't been out long enough to really see what's going on, and it's not live, so they can't really judge about at 110 what you're going to be. So keep that in mind. But we have a basic survivability build, which is going to go with agility over versatility over haste is equal to mastery or greater, depending on how you want to go. I prefer having a little bit more haste just for the fact that I like to have my global cooldowns come off a little bit faster and my regeneration times a little bit lower as well. And then master crit. And then you also have the DPS build, because some tanks just like doing a lot of DPS and damage. They like seeing the big numbers. Not as much survivability with them, but push out bigger numbers. So on those you'll go with agility, mastery, crit, versatility, and then haste. But again, that may all change down the line. Now for the talents, prefer agonizing flames in the first tier. The other two just aren't really that good. Although if you're going with the DPS build, even here on beta, a lot of the ones that go with the DPS build are going with the Razor Spikes just for a little bit more DPS. In second tier, you've got Feast of Souls, which is pretty much your fallback to. It's good for pretty much all around tanking single target. You still do pretty good against multi-target and such. Then you have Fallout, which is basically going to help with AoE and such. If you have more than one ad or a group of ads constantly coming out, it's going to make your Immolation Aura, Ignite, and Burst as a chance to make smaller fragments, soul fragments from enemies, which will give you better AoE healing. But again, that's dependent upon you having multiple targets to use it on. If you're doing a boss fight where there's just one or just one target, it's not that beneficial, not going to really do much. If you've got a good many ads, like a lot of ads in a fight that are just beating you down pretty hard, Burning Alive is going to be really decent for you. It's going to cause your Fire Brand to actually spread throughout the mob, and your Fire Brand is one of your mitigating abilities that reduces the damage you take. So if it spreads to all those ads, they all have the brand, which means they're all doing reduced damage to you. But again, dependent upon you having a large group beating on you. On a boss fight and such, it won't be so good. So the main fallback is going to be the Feast of Souls. Now I like the Fell Blade on the level 102 ones because it basically gives you another pain generating ability. It's going to give you a charge ability like a warrior's. When they charge, it's also going to come in. Now it generates well, not but your shear generates a proc on it, which gives you a free proc of it, which allows you to use it again. And so basically you can charge with it, generate you 20 pain. Your shear is going to reset the cooldown on it again, which happens pretty good bit with the proc. You charge again, 20 more pain. So it just constantly gives you a lot more of your resource. Now the Flame Crash is good for a passive. Basically it's going to allow your Infernal Strike, that when you leap with it, to drop a sigil of flame for free, passively. So basically you could leap, sigil of flame goes down, then you could drop your regular sigil of flame as well and generate DPS and pick up threat. And the Fell Eruption, Infernal, impales the target for 90. The damage I'm not really going to go by because it scales based on your mastery and all that. So basically it's going to hit with chaos damage, stun the target for 2 seconds, inflicts additional 100% damage against targets that are permanently immune to stuns. And again, though, it's got a 10 pain cost and a cooldown timer, so I wouldn't really want to waste extra pain on something like that. So I'd probably go with one of the other two. like I said, particularly Felled Blade because it actually generates more pain. In the 104 tier, I like Feed the Demon because it helps your demon spikes come off cooldown faster. Every time you consume a soul fragment, it's going to reduce the remaining count cooldown on demon spikes by 1 second. And you got Fracture, slims your target for damage, and shatters 2 lesser shard fragments from them. But it costs 40 pain. So that's a good chunk of your resource to generate some fragments. So overall, I mean, it might give you good healing, but compared to the other, I just don't like stuff that takes the pain away from my possible use of mitigation abilities, or my soul cleave ability. Because if I don't have any pain for that, I'm not going to be healing yourself. So, and the soul rendering is actually pretty decent. It makes a really good oh crap button because it allows your demon form to give you 50% leech while you're in metamorphosis. So basically, you're taking a lot of damage, you're possibly able to die. Go demon form. Demon form actually heals you by 30%, increases your maximum health by 30%, and then off the top of that, you now have this leech ability, which allows you to just build yourself back to full health again. So keep that in mind. That's a pretty decent one. Now on the next tier, the concentrated sigils I like mainly because in some of the dungeons and instances and such, there's terrain that goes different levels, and I was getting line of sight errors in some of the dungeons. So you pop to drop your sigil down, big circle comes up, but you can't drop it. Every time you click on it, it won't let you drop it. So you've got the circle up, and you have no ways to cancel it to go back DP or tanking. And so it just caused a lot of issues. Maybe they'll fix that before live. Sigil of Chains will basically give you like a Gorfine Grasp. When you drop the sigil, it's going to pull adds to the sigil. So that's pretty decent. Quicken Sigil will actually make your sigils explode faster, become active faster, and reduces their cooldown by 20%. So if you actually like using your sigils a lot, that might be a good one for you. All three of these are basically pretty decent, just depends on your playstyle. Although I do like having a Gorfine Grasp, but right now, like I said, for the line of sight error, just goes with that one. On the 108, Fell Devastation is an insane amount of self-healing right now, although it does have a cooldown and a pain cost. But I'll demonstrate that one later on after the rotation to show the difference in them. The Blade Turning, parrying an attack increases the pain generation of your next shear by 50%, so I like that, giving me more pain generation. The Spirit Bomb, again, I don't like it because it requires more adds. If you do it on a single target, like a boss or whatever, it just doesn't have that much effect. Now, if you've got a lot of adds around you where you can explode and shatter, it just do a lot better. But so basically, just I'm not really going with that one. Don't really like it that much. Now the 110, you've got Last Resort, which is basically like a purgatory. Sustaining a fatal blow damage is going to transform you automatically and returns you to 30% of your health. So that's pretty good. It's like I said, I just don't like non-use activated abilities where I'm not in control of what's going on. But a lot of people like Purgatory on the DKs, such. So pretty much a similar ability. The Nether Bond, I'm not really too sure how that's going to play out. Haven't really played around with it that much, so can't really say much on it, how effective it's going to be or will be. Soul Barrier, though, I do use. Basically gives me another mitigating ability, although it does cost 30 pain and has a cooldown, so keep that in mind as well. But with the other builds I take, I actually generate a lot of pain on my character. But possibly if you don't like that one, you can go with the Last Resort. And now to go with the basic moves and abilities. You've got your Throw Glaive, which is basically like an Avenger Shield on a Paladin. It can hit up to you hit your initial target and up to 2 more additional targets. Good for generating threat, but it has a global cooldown with your other abilities. So basically, use it to pull, and then just don't use it because your shear is going to do multiple targets in front of you, and you don't want to be wasting the global cooldown that you could be using for that. So pick up adds with your glaive throw, but then resort to shear or other abilities. For mitigation, you've got, of course, your demon spikes. You have 2 charges of those. Now the duration does stack, so I mean if you use both of them at the same back to back, the duration would actually add to each other, but it's preferable to actually keep one on cooldown and keep the other up, or use them before the other one's a little bit below 50% and about to come off cooldown, then pop your next one. And so you can kind of keep them rotating and staggered. Kind of difficult to keep both of them up, or keep it up 100% of the time on you, so it will drop off. There will be some times with it not being active, but during that time you should be using your soul cleave, which based on the soul fragments you've generated, it will pull all those up around you, give you a big hit, heals you, and basically like a death strike on a death knight. It's going to heal you up based on the fragments you have, and it's going to give you a hot heal over time effect as well. So good buffer for that. Then you have your fiery brand. Basically, it's going to put a brand on the target, it's going to do some fire damage, and it's going to reduce the damage they do to you by 40%. Now, if you've taken the talent that allows the brand to jump to multiple targets, all those targets are going to have that on them. But again, that's not single target. It's dependent upon you having a bunch of adds. Don't be afraid to kind of use it. It's got a 1 minute cooldown, but I mean, rather than just sit on it, if you feel like you're taking damage, use it. Or if you're about to take a really big hit from boss mechanics, save it for that fight. You've got your Empower Wards. Basically, it's like an anti-magic shell, but weaker. Reduces magical damage done to you by 30% for 6 seconds. Now, I don't know if it's a glitch or what, but I've actually popped it. It's only supposed to protect you for 30%, but I've had it completely negate an attack where I took no damage. So, I'm not sure if it sometimes just absorbs all of it or what, but very good for absorbing magical attacks and magic damage. You've got the talent Soul Barrier if you pick that, which is going to put a shield on you for 8 seconds and absorb damage, consuming soul fragments around you though, so keep that in mind. It does consume your soul fragments, which you also use those for your soul cleave to heal. And of course your demonic metamorphosis, where you turn into the demon. It's going to basically give you 30% of your health back and increase your current maximum health by 45%, or on my character 45% because of my stats. And we won't talk about the rune weapon. I don't want to ruin much for you. And what else to go over? You basically got your Immolation Aura, which is going to generate pain and generate your threat and an AoE around you. You've got your Shear, which is going to actually hit multiple targets in front of you, generate your threat, generate pain. Parrying, if you've taken the talent, will actually cause it to generate more pain. You'll see procs of that. You've got your Fell Blade, which is your charge, generates threat and gives you pain generation. And you've also got abilities which are almost like Paladin Hands. You've got Sigils, which are for all occasions. You've got your Sigil of Flame, which when you drop that down, it's going to count down and explode in fire around you. You've got one that does an AoE silence, one that actually is like the warriors shout that fears things. If you take the talent, you'll have the Sigil of Change, which gives you a Gorfine Grasp top ability. You've got basically a CC type ability, Imprison, which imprisons a demon. And those are the basic abilities of your Demon Hunter. You've got your Taunt, which is Torment. And of course your Infernal Strike, which is basically a Heroic Leap. And basically on pull, if it's at a range, you can throw your glaive at it, but once you've got it with the glaive, stop using the glaive and use your shear. And let's see. Alright, so I know a lot of times if you feel like you're going to take that big hit, go ahead and use the fiery brand on pull. I generally don't, because I just heal back up from it. Go in, charge, just going to generate some pain. Do your immolation aura will generate more pain. Then you'll be able to throw up your first demon spikes. Start spamming your shear. Get you a soul cleave in to dump your pain so you don't go over on that. And then keep in mind, sometimes on a Demon Hunter you will need to be mindful and use mitigating abilities, because there will be times where you're kind of spiky right now, especially on live right now because it's lower level and you're missing so many of your talents. But other than that, it's the basics. We'll pull, and after I do the first pull though, I am going to respec into Fell Devastation and just show you how big of a heal that is. So let's see how the pull goes.
Crap. 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 Crap.
Alright, now I'm going to respec into the Fell Devastation and show you how that works. Alright, I've actually spec'd into Soul Rending for the Leech ability and Fell Devastation. I'll go up to the dummy and take a good bit of damage and use both those abilities, and you can kind of get an idea of how much they self-heal you.
Crap.
Alright, gonna take some damage. Alright, that was the Soul Rending. And as soon as my demon comes off cooldown, I'll show you that with the leech. Alright, it's off cooldown, so let's go up here and try it. And as you can see with the Fell Rending and Fell Devastation, you can use them pretty much together and just get a huge self-heal. But again, the talents may change. They've already changed somewhat, especially on the amount of leech that Soul Rendering gave. But that's the basics of the tanking. Just keep in mind, you know, if you're really not trying to take a lot of damage, and help your healer out by using your abilities. During the demonstration, I didn't take or use a lot of these here, just to show you like how to heal up and how well your Soul Cleave will heal you up. It's like a death. I mean, basically the Demon Hunter's got abilities from every tank. I mean, a lot of these features of your tank on other classes are very similar, but a whole new edge to them, a new graphical look, so kind of a newish, kind of something shiny feel to it. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Hopefully helped you a little bit in understanding how the class works and abilities and talents, and hope you enjoy. Thank you for watching.